5, 4, 3, 2. Realtors, you're in the right spot.
We're going to do this together.
Welcome to the Leading Edge Podcast.
These mentors showed me a map of success.
This is the place for real estate pros like you to get better at running your business, balancing your life, and having happy clients.
Do you know how powerful you are?
And now your host, Eric Thompson.
Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your good friend Eric Thompson on the Leading Edge Podcast, episode 93, called How to Make It Easy. I'm guessing you're down with that on how to make things easy. You all need to know that this podcast is being brought to you by my upcoming webinar called Non-Pushy Selling. To check it out, you guys, it's totally free. Go to nonpushyselling.com to get yourself signed up. All right, let's go. It is springtime here in Colorado. It's March 31st is the day that I am recording this. So spring has sprung, which means that summer is around the corner and all the summer things I'm looking forward to. And so that's what's going on here in the Thompson household. We're getting excited for what's coming up here in the springtime. Okay, I'm excited for this podcast, all right? I want to make things easy for you. It's one of my missions in life. I love when I can simplify things for people and make things really easy. So let's go there. Let's do this. You all need to know, you're not surprised by this, that this is a mindset podcast, as a lot of these podcasts are. Definitely mindset podcast. This can be a mindset podcast for all of my real estate friends. Let me ask you this. Have you ever said to yourself, I don't know what to do? Like, here I am right now. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm confused. I'm stuck. What do I do next? Have you said some version of that? Of course you have. You know why? Because turns out you're a human being. And so human beings say things like that. I don't know what to do. Okay. So what happens is that triggers a feeling of you feeling complication. All right. So when things feel complicated, it's because you're saying to yourself, I don't know. So the sentence that you would say to yourself in your mind, I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know what to do next. It's going to make things feel complicated. And so the example that we're going to use, because this is for all my real estate friends, the example we're going to use is when you might be saying, I don't know where my next deal is going to come from. I don't know how to find my next client. I don't know how to find my next listing. I don't know where my next buyer is going to come from. You know, any version of that, just bottom line. I don't know where my next transaction is going to come from. And what happens, you guys, when you get into that state of I don't know, where things are now feeling really complicated, you know what you do when you're saying to yourself over and over again, I don't know what to do? You do nothing. Okay, so you do nothing because you're repeating to yourself, I don't know what to do. And so what happens is it proves itself out. Okay, so the thought of I don't know what to do, that definitely comes out in your results, and that nothing happens. So you still remain in this place of not being sure what to do because you're not doing anything to figure out what to do to go test and see what actually might work. One of my real estate heroes has this really amazing quote. The quote says this business is only complicated if you let it be complicated, right? This business is only complicated if you let it be complicated. So what I like to say is this business is hard, okay? It's hard, super hard. In a minute, we're going to talk about all the reasons why, but it's not complicated. What I mean by that is the act of attracting business, being in the business of having more business, being in the business of having people to work with, that part is not complicated. It's hard, but it's not complicated. Now, transactions are complicated. Okay? Let's be clear what I mean. Transactions themselves, they are complicated because there's a lot of moving parts and pieces to it. But the act of actually finding clients, having people to work with, the act of getting people like into your funnel, into your pipeline, having some people on your hot warm list, having people that are under contract, all of that is not complicated. It's hard, but it's not complicated. It's actually very, very straightforward. Now, again, let's not be mistaken. The business is hard, like it's hard work. And that's why you get paid a lot of money, is because it is hard, all right? So to be paid 10,000 to 15,000 to 20,000. Some of you, depending on average prices, 50,000, maybe some of you $100,000 per transaction. The reason why you're paid that is because it's hard work, right? This is real hard work that turns out not many people can do as well as you do. A lot of people think that they can. That's why so many people come into this business, but you are one of the select few that is worth that amount of money because you're so committed to this, right? So why is the business hard? Well, it starts with the fact that it's hard to be an entrepreneur, right? It's hard to wake up every morning unemployed. It's hard to go out there and make it rain yourself, right? It's hard to actually go attract clients. Like again, that is hard work, right? So it takes work to attract clients, but not complicated work, but it does take work to attract clients, right? It's also hard because you have to manage transactions, right? And you're not only managing transactions, but you're managing the personalities that come along with the transactions. And you're also managing the emotions that come along with the transactions, because it turns out that the real estate process for the client, like the real estate transaction for the client, is super emotional. So there you are managing all that. That is hard, all right? It's hard to stay on top of the market and all the changes, and especially now with inflation and interest rates and everything that's happening, and gosh, what's happening next? So where are interest rates today, and where were they yesterday, and where are they going to be an hour from now? And that's all really, really hard work to stay on top of the market. It's hard work to price a property. Like it takes a lot of like deep thought, like a lot of research to really dig in and look at the comparable sales and then present all that information to the seller so that you can help them make a good decision on a price. Like that's hard, right? It's hard to get a listing ready to go on the market, right? It's hard, like to follow that process and have those steps and have things go well. It's also hard, my friends. It's hard to hear no. You hear no a lot in this business. No, we're not ready to do something. No, we don't want to work with you. We pick someone else to work with. No, we're not ready to list our home yet. No, we don't want to pay you that much money. Like you hear no a lot. That's hard. But again, you guys, when it comes to attracting clients, when it comes to having people to work with, it's not complicated. All right. It's actually very easy in that it's straightforward. All right. Not easy because it's easy work, but it's really straightforward. So, what I encourage you to do right now, just in case you've been saying to yourself, I don't know where my next client is going to come from, what I encourage you to do is let it be straightforward. Just let it be very straightforward. See it as straightforward because it is, right? We're not faking it till we make it. We are saying something that's true when we say something like to ourselves, you know what, it's really straightforward. I actually know exactly how to attract a client. I know what works. So let that be straightforward. And we're going to stay out of I don't know, because when you're in I don't know, you don't do anything, right? You just stay stuck there. So we need to replace I don't know with it's actually very straightforward. So there's kind of a funny thing that happens in our house now, because I'd say this so much, is whenever our kids get in a mode of I don't know, and Daddy, I just don't know what to do. I'm not sure what to do, and maybe kind of in that dramatic kind of way. The funny response that's actually a really good coaching statement is, well, just pretend that you did. I want you to pretend that you actually did know. Pretend you did know. What would you say to that? All right. So that statement is kind of comical. It's kind of humorous, but it's also super effective, where you could say that back to yourself, right? So you could be like, all right, so I'm going to pretend right now that I actually did know. I'm going to pretend that I did know. What would I do first? So my friends, again, you know what to do, right? You know exactly what to do. And there's so many things that you know. So another really, really good exercise that is either a good thought exercise, and it's an even better exercise when it's in writing. I want you to at least think about, if not write down, everything that you do know. All right, so stop saying I don't know and start focus on the things that you do know. So what are all the things that you know as it relates to business development, having more clients, having more people to work with, all the things? Just write down the things that are true that you actually know. And you can start with the most basic of things, and that's actually a really good place to start. Like, how about you start with, you know what? There are people in this market where I work who are going to sell their house this year. Like, you could write that down. There are buyers in this market who are going to buy a house this year. And you could even say this month, okay? There are people who are going to buy this month. There are people who are going to sell this month. That is a true statement. You know that. And the other thing based on the research is that just about all those people are going to work with an agent, right? They're going to work with a realtor. It's upwards of 90% of all people that do something in real estate, buy or sell, that work with a realtor, right? So how about we start there, right? We're getting out of I don't know. We're starting with the most basic things like, well, dang, check it out. In my market, there are actually going to be people that sell and there are going to be people that buy. Now, what do I know about those people? Well, what I know about those people is that based on the research, they really make a decision based on relationship. Like, relationship is super important. About 70% of all clients pick their realtor based on a personal relationship. So they know that agent, they know that realtor, or someone that they know refers them to those people. So it's based on relationships. So I know that. I also know that because in the client's mind, this transaction is super complex and there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot of risk to it, that they're probably going to want to pick someone that's really credible, right? That really knows their stuff. So I know that. So now, knowing that, what do I know? Okay, now I know all that. What do I know? Well, now I know that kind of the key is I need to develop really good relationships with people. Like, I need to stay connected with people. I also need to be building up the credibility in the mind of those people. And I also know about these people who are going to be moving, who are going to be buying or selling real estate. I know that they know people. So I know that the people that I know people who are going to buy or sell real estate this year. Like, I know that. Wow, I know all that. So now, knowing all that, what am I going to do? Right? What am I going to do now that I know all that? Well, I'm just going to start talking to people, right? I'm just going to get in motion. I'm going to start engaging with people. I'm going to start making the relationship even better. I'm going to start really building up credibility in the mind of those people, really showing my stuff in a value add way. Like, I know that. I so know that. So again, you guys, we're going to get out of any state, any place of I don't know. I don't know where my next transaction is coming from. And how often have you said that? Like, in your head or to your loved ones, right? Are you complaining in the evening? Like, well, someone says, well, how's business going? You're like, oh man, it's, I guess okay, but I just don't know where my next deal is going to come from. Well, yeah, you do. Of course, you know exactly where it's going to come from. Like pretend it's happening now and trace it backwards. Like, what are all the things that led to you working with that person? Like, you know exactly what to do. And isn't that easy? It's so straightforward, right? Those are all simple, super straightforward things I just walked you through on what we now know. So again, this business is only hard if you let it be. This business is only complicated if you let it be complicated, right? It is hard, but it's not complicated. The business is hard. It's actually a good thing that it's hard. What that means is not everyone can do it, right? Not everyone is committed as you. Not everyone works as hard as you. So actually, the harder the better, because that weeds some people out, leaves more opportunity for you. And all that being said, don't let it be complicated. Like, just keep it very simple, straightforward. You know exactly what works. Just do that, right? You know exactly what works. And what you could also just go back and look at, all right, my past transactions, what led to those? Like, what were the simple things I was doing that led to all of those transactions? Like, the answer is sitting right there in front of you. So I bring this up, I make this podcast because I'm hearing a little bit about this in this day and age. In this market, I'm hearing some people feel confused. I don't know what to do. But again, you know exactly what to do. Go check out my free class, Non-Pushy Selling. Go to nonpushyselling.com. You are going to really enjoy that. Tons of takeaways to keep you from feeling like a pushy salesperson, which I know you don't want to do. And I so appreciate you listening to this podcast. It means the world to me. I can't wait to see you in the next one. And my friends, in the meantime, enjoy life on the leading edge.